Hello, my name is Adonis Turner of Adonis Power and Conditioning, and here's our first webinar Thursday. It's a little bit later because I had to reshoot it because the live webinar didn't work out, but I'm just going to recap the exact same things I went over in the live webinar because it was a little bit choppy, the video. So first off, one free day pass I'm offering to everyone. My gym just opened May 27th. I'm still trying to get exposure. Still have a good amount of members to begin with, but I still want more exposure. So if you know people that are looking for a different form of training and they want more strength and conditioning and they're serious about their goals, invite them to this gym. If you're a member, bring them as a guest one time free. And that is what I'll say about that. This will be available as long as I'm under my goals right now, which is I have a certain amount of members I want. So next thing, one free personal training session. Right now I'm working towards 50 hours a week in personal training, and as long as I'm under that, I will be offering one free personal training session to anyone who is interested in achieving their goals of weight loss, muscle building, rehab, whatever. So that is going to be on the market until I reach my goals there, so I encourage you all to take advantage of it. Even if you do have no intention of signing up after that, still come get a free workout, and then I can help you achieve your goals for your own gym in your own way. Last thing, open gym schedule. This Saturday, 12 to 2 p.m., July 9th, 2016, and also the Saturday after that, July 23rd, 2016, there'll be open gyms. You can get to talk to me, get some tips from me, get some nutrition advice, and it's really up to you how long you stay or go. 12 to 2, work out as long as you want for free. That'll be every other Saturday, 12 to 2 p.m. until further notice, and stay tuned for further announcements. I may, as I get bigger, do them more frequently. I really don't know. I'm not sure, but I enjoy these. I enjoy meeting people, so it's really up to you if you want to come get a free workout. Now, here's a seminar where I'm going to talk about my path from being born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, all the way to living in Tulsa, Oklahoma, about 1,000 miles away, and you get to see my journey and the relevant pieces that went together to help me get to this point. So first off, let me erase this, and then we'll go to the video. All right, so back again, we are born 1992, May 14th, and right now I'm 24 years old. So my mom, obviously my mom and my dad, James and Denise Turner. My mom did the majority of the raising for me, as my dad wasn't there since I was 8, and I haven't seen him since I was 8, and I'm now 24 years old, so I haven't seen him in 16 years. So moving on to year 2000, where it gets a little bit more interesting. So first off, that is the year Dad left to go live with his mom. And that's the same year my uncle taught me chess. Now, this may not seem relevant to the path of me getting to my now owner of a gym, but it is extremely relevant because it developed the forward thinking, the planning, because in chess you have to strategize every single move. I mean, unless you're not good, then that way you can win. But if you're not strategizing everything, every little thing, and being very meticulous, then it's going to set up a problem later on in the game, and if someone's better than you, they'll beat you. So that allowed me to be more of a forward thinker, to think years ahead, moves ahead, things of that nature. So that was crucial to my mental development as an 8-year-old to learn chess. And also my uncle said that, like when I talked to him recently, he said that he tried to teach my cousins the exact same thing, but it didn't really work out because they weren't interested and they didn't think similar to myself. So next thing we got is 2003. I got my first gym membership. So what happened was more negative motivation than anything, because I was made fun of. Girls at school, I forget what grade 2003 is, but I was 10, 11, and kids used to make fun of my weight because I was a fat kid. I don't know how fat I was, I can't really remember, but long story short, I go crying to my mom saying like, hey, this happened at school, and I start crying in her arms and everything, And then, she calmed me down and she said, "Hey, Adonis, why don't you come work out with me at the gym?" And I was 11 years old, and when we go to the gym to sign up the next day, because my mom isn't really big on waiting or anything like that, so like I had a problem, we'll say Monday, and then Tuesday I'm signed up at a gym. So I asked the lady, or she's talking to the lady, right? And then she asks her, like, how old do kids have, or do people have to be here to train? And she said 13. And then she's like, "Well, my son's 11. And then the lady was like, "Your son is as old as you say he is." And then at that point, my mom was like, "My son's 13. So I was the youngest person in the gym at that age. So 11 years old, I was 2 years ahead of the curve, which allowed me to be healthy a lot sooner than waiting another 700 days to get more in shape. So that was a pretty important point in my life. I also got hooked up with a trainer named Phil. I forget his last name. I tried to connect with him on Facebook. I can't remember his last name. But it was a guy, he was really big upper body, real skinny legs from what I remember. And I remember he was able to bench 500 pounds. And he told me as a young kid that what helped him get to his point was push-ups. So over time, I developed getting more acclimated with doing a lot of push-ups because I always wanted to be able to bench 500. Still can't bench 500, but that's not the point. So I worked up when I was into, like if I started at 11, I worked up to when I was a 17-year-old at the peak of my high school development as far as physical acumen. I was able to do 5 sets of 88 every single day, and that ends up being over 400 push-ups every single day before I went to school. So push-ups is really what got me going and got me developed upper body wise. So the next thing is in 2004, I started swimming. Now, in 1997, let me write that real fast, is when my mom taught me how to play basketball. We have a basketball hoop that is still out there till this day. Now it's just sitting there because I'm now in Tulsa. But I played basketball since I was 5 years old, so I kind of knew everything there was to know about basketball. At least I thought I did at the time, and still think I do, but that's not the point. But I started swimming because someone told my mom, I believe, at the gym that swimming's the best thing for your body as far as just pure health, low impact on your joints. You could do it until you're 104. You really don't have to worry about being like injured from just swimming because it's water, so you're not going to be like jumping up and down like basketball or getting collided by someone else like football. This is something that is long-term health and will increase your flexibility and stamina in life overall. So this is why I did it, and it also supported my initial goal, which was weight loss in 2003. So during this time, I don't know if I wrote that down, but from 2004 to 2007, I grew 12 inches. So I'm gonna write that down real quick. 2004 to 2007, grew 1 foot. So basically, well, this is a bracket. I'll keep this a bracket as well. So basically, I went from 4'11" to 5'11". I believe it breaks down to being like 6 foot. At the start of my 6 foot year, I was like 4'11" or something like that. And at the end of my 8th grade year, if I'm getting those dates, those years right, I was 5'11". So I was 5'11" on the basketball team in the 8th grade. Some people aren't even 5'11" now. So I was pretty tall for an 8th grader. But I'm not that much taller now. I'm 6'2" now, so I kind of slowed down. So next thing I'm going to go over is in 2005, I started playing chess and started taking, I started playing chess in 2000, but I started taking it more seriously. I forget the exact reason why I started taking it more seriously, but once I started taking it more seriously, started doing it more tournaments, started practicing more, started doing more chess online programs, started doing more research on YouTube. I used to watch grandmasters play, and I used to always aspire to be a grandmaster because I used to always think like, how great would it be to be the best intellectually as far as that's concerned, because that's how I identify with chess, as more of a brain game more than anything else. So started taking chess more seriously is what was like the main focus in 2005. So next thing that is important to this path, 2009, as you can see, this is a 4-year gap. I started to become nationally recognized in chess. So it goes from, in this time frame, reading a lot of books, doing a lot of studying, and doing a lot of researching. Granted, this was probably my first passion, chess, and now it's fitness, but this connection, this drive, this focus, this attention to detail really carries over to my clients as well today. So I'm so glad that my uncle taught me how to play in 2000, because now I'm very, very meticulous as far as what people are needing specifically, because not everyone needs the exact same thing. So I'm able to really pinpoint and say, okay, you need this and you need that accurately. So in 2009, going back 7 years, I became nationally ranked in chess, 21st out of the 17 and 18-year-olds. And at this point in chess, I'm not sure the exact number, but I believe it's about $6,000 in earnings from just getting first place in chess tournaments, which every time I tell people, they're surprised. And till this day, the biggest checks I've got were from chess. So I think that's kind of cool. I took it for granted back then, because one of the tournaments I won $2,250, and I didn't think much of it because I was just so invested in the game. So I never thought like, oh my God, $2,000. I just thought like, oh, I got third, I didn't get first. So I actually had a problem leaving Chicago because I didn't get first place. But now I look back on it, I would do anything just to relive that moment, to take it, to not take it for granted like I did before. But so yeah, that was just, and I say that because I think, like, you know, teach your kids always to appreciate, you know, the little things, even though they get second or third or fourth or whatever. Make sure they understand that most people don't get that high in placing, so they need to put everything in perspective. Like, not everyone can be the best, and I always wanted to be the best, so if I wasn't the best, I was last. So that's kind of the mentality, and you can't have the mentality because there's 7 billion people on earth. So that would make 1 winner and 7 billion losers, and that's not realistic or healthy. So the mentality, looking back on it, is something I wish I would have improved upon. But bottom line, 2009, 21st out of 17 and 18-year-olds. At this point, I really do not care about school. All I care about is being the #1 chess player in the world. But what stopped that process was video games. This is the reason why I am not right now Grandmaster, and that's what I'm sticking to. Because of the earnings associated with chess, I used that money to buy video games, as opposed to sticking with what got me to be a great chess player. And till this day, I still regret it, because it ended up being, granted, I was also nationally ranked for some time in Gears of War 2, but that's small potatoes compared to being nationally ranked in a game that requires your brain as opposed to just your thumbs and fast reaction time. So 21st out of this, I got distracted, and I always tell my clients, for when they're training, that don't resort to things that didn't get you where you are today. So if you lose, we'll say 30 pounds, and you're still losing weight, you have no reason to change anything until whatever workout program or diet program starts to falter. So you want to focus on what got you, if it's positive, what got you to where you are right now, and then progress from there, continuing what you're doing. You don't need to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is the bottom line. So Xbox And my mom, I think my mom told me not to get it, so when she watches this video, she's going to be like, yep, I told him not to get that Xbox. But this is when things started to go downhill academically, stopped showing up to school because I was obsessed with this thing, this $300 waste of equipment. So that is until 2009. So the next thing is, the next part of this video is going to be about when I started school, how I started school, and when I wanted to major in initially, and then we'll start wrapping up to eventually get into 2016. So stay tuned for the rest of this video. Alright, for the last part of this video, I'm going to show you from 2011 to 2016. So first off, 2011 started ORU, Oral Roberts University. So, what was important about ORU, and just to give a quick backstory, when I was, 2007 or so, I started talking to pretty big name schools, and one of the schools, without listing all of them, was Princeton. So I was back and forth with the Princeton swim coach, and I don't have his letter anymore, because I think I threw it away, but he was talking to me about swimming, and I was, really wanting to be on that swim team because at that point I was getting into my junior year of high school. I was getting like a 3.7 because school was pretty easy, even though I was, working out an hour in the morning, then about 4 hours after school. So I was still able to get my homework done and get the test done and everything. So basically, long story short, my mom told me that in 2006, I believe, she said that you're doing so well in school and in chess and in your sports and everything that if you don't get a full ride, that means you dropped the ball somewhere, and that means there's a character flaw that needs to be fixed. So the only schools she would take out loans for would be Oral Roberts University, and here we stand. So basically, I dropped the ball. I got senioritis too early. I got it during my junior year. So basically, what happened during my junior year, I started taking a bunch of meaningless advanced classes to prove something to someone, to prove I was smart. What I should have did was took regular history, because I don't like history, so there's no reason for me to take advanced history. Should have took regular English, because I don't like English. So all these things are associated with why I kind of lost interest in school, because AP history and AP English were extremely hard, and especially for someone that didn't respect them to begin with. So only one I should have took was calculus. That's all I should have did, and then took just regular classes, and then just focused on doing well in chess, doing well in swimming, and improving that, and then I would have went somewhere else, which I'm okay with going here because I met my wife there. But anyway, so I started ORU at the spring of 2011. All right, spring right here. Actually, that's probably too small. Spring. So, flash forward to 2012 is when the magic starts happening. So if you remember in the first part of the video, I told you that in 2000, I started my fitness journey. 2004, I started swimming. 2012 is when I first lifted weights. And that is because, first, and that is because you're required to as a part of your grade. So each semester at ORU, they essentially force you to be healthy. You have to pick a certain health and exercise class in order to graduate on time. And you have to pass said class every single semester to graduate, or you have to take 2 in another semester. But long story short, HPE2, which is a weightlifting based class, is why I am really here today mostly. That's probably the most beneficial class, and me being the engineering major, most beneficial class that got me here today, because I was able to develop muscle mass, which in turn allowed me to be seen by my friends as someone like, oh, this guy lifts weights. So what happened was I started lifting weights because of the class in the spring of 2012. Like 5 or 6 of my friends said, hey, Dominus, what are you doing now? You're looking, a little bit more muscular. Like, what's going on? I was like, just started lifting weights. My first bench press was 240 pounds. My first deadlift was 385 pounds. So I was pretty strong because of the working out since I was 11. I just didn't weight train. I did a lot of push-ups, about 440 every day before I went to school, but I never weight trained. But since 440 push-ups every day before you would go to school for 3 years, since like the age of 16, well, 15 to 17, you're going to build some strength. So long story short, people noticed, and then people started training with me. Because people started training with me, they in turn got results. And when I saw their face lit up after hitting personal record after personal record, I thought to myself, I might as well get paid for this. It makes no sense for me to do something that I'm hating, and have to wake up at 7 in the morning. There's no sense of me being miserable at any point just for the sake of getting a piece of paper and maybe getting a job in that field. So once I made a couple of assessments, I talked to not my wife at the time, but the girl I was interested in at the time. Her name was Amy Turner, or Amy Schwab at the time. And I was talking to her because she at the time majored in dance and an exercise-based major as well, because since she's smart, she needs 2 majors to stay interested. So she did very well in school, but yeah, bottom line is I wanted to follow suit, and I got more information in that direction. But so I talked to her about it. I actually don't remember right now what her response was, but she did expect me to be interested in that field. So I got more information from different professors, and then I started talking to people who actually had the jobs, and then I told them hey, I'm an engineering major, but I like this. So what they said was, oh, you don't want to do that. You want to do something safe, or you don't want to be a personal trainer. You want to do something safe. You want to work 40 years for 40 hours at the job. You just want to be safe. You just want to be normal. So that's what I picked up, and that's what I continue to do. I continue to go to school. I did 4 more semesters of something I could not stand, and I didn't immediately go after my passion. So I encourage you, if you're at a spot similar to where I was at, you want to get better advice from people that are actually better than you. You don't want to get advice from people that you don't want to be. You want to get advice from people that are so far ahead of you that you can only dream of being. So I hate to be dramatic about that, but I'm very serious, because not everyone's brainwashed into believing that you need to go to college and get a degree to do anything in life. It's only useful if you have no idea what to do. That is when it's useful. But if you know exactly what you want to do, don't follow something just because everyone else is doing it. So, all that to say, first lifted weights in 2012. 2013, I became a certified personal trainer. This is another good year for me. So, I'm trying to remember. So the spring before, I believe that's when I started actually failing classes, because I would either not show up, not do homework, various reasons, oversleep, whatever. Because I got the certification in June 24th. So let me be specific in what I'm saying. June 2013. So the spring of this year, about January to May, that's when I started really not doing well in classes, started really showing up on my report card and things of that nature, my transcript I should say, because it's not high school, so transcript. And then that's when I really said okay, I need a plan B, as everyone does. So, and this is my plan B, and this is my passion. So ever since I started training people in the gym for fun, just kind of recreationally, and they started getting bigger, stronger, faster, I realized that this is what I'm good at just naturally, because I've been working out and invested in that for so long anyway, so there's not a whole lot of things I don't know, but I can always improve upon that knowledge. So I've got a certification, and I was studying 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for 5 weeks, because I knew I was getting married the December of that year, about 6 months later, and I knew I didn't have that much time to mess around and wait and not study and get this test passed. So they said it to me like, oh, usually people, it takes like 9 to 12 weeks. It took me 5 weeks, and the only reason it took me 5 weeks is because I had to like wait an extra week after I scheduled my test. So it could have been a lot shorter as well. So got my certified personal training, and then 6 months later got married to my wife, who's very, very awesome, very, very patient, that's bad. That's wrong. Very, very patient, awesome, loving, caring, very, very supportive in what I'm trying to do. Understanding, and that is very key. That's another side now. You want a wife who's understanding because you're going to mess up. So, anyway, the next thing, 2014. This is when, actually, did I have anything interesting?
Love you too, baby.
Love you too. Oh man. Okay, 2015 is actually where, 2014 I can't really remember anything that's of value. Besides, I started my first gym job, and I started other other regular jobs because I wasn't sure really how to use this, because it wasn't really clearly explained to me when I got my certification, like how do I use my certification. But I eventually figured it out. It took some time. But 2015 is when I became a fitness director at a gym. I was working at 2 gyms, not at the same time, but over the 2014 to 2015 time. And without giving them too much publicity, because I myself am a gym, so there's no reason for me to give advertising without being sponsored. The one gym, I was a fitness floor person, which the main job was to make sure that the area was, you basically have to babysit adults. You just watch, make sure people weren't banging weights. You just watch to make sure the equipment was clean. Really not a whole lot of things of value, at least not in my life. So, but I was there a little too long because I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I still needed income, so I was still figuring things out. So I believe I stayed there for 18 months, but if I were to do the math on it and looking back on it, I was probably there 15 months too long. So after 3 months, I got what I needed as far as enough training, but there really wasn't enough training to have like a sufficient income for my family. So I eventually got another job as a fitness director at another gym, a smaller gym, but I was making much more money and there was much more potential there. October of 2015 is when I became a fitness director at a gym, which is probably the best job, besides the job I have right now, the best job I've ever had, because of the income associated with it, the freedom associated with it, and also the fact I got to learn how to run my own business. I told the owner in October, before we even got started, that I said I want to work here for a long time, but the only requirements I have is I have big plans for my family, I have big plans for my life, and I can't live mediocrely. So, if that's a word. But I told him, I said, hey, this is the amount of money I want to make because I'm going to have X amount of kids. I was very, very specific in what I wanted to do, because I knew that if I couldn't reach my goals, I knew I wasn't going to last, because I get very, very disinterested. I don't know if it's because of technology. I have a very, very low attention span for things that aren't going to support me and my family. So I told him exactly what I wanted, and he said, like, oh yeah, we'll go for it, and it'll take time, but I think you'll be able to get there easily within the first 12 to 18 months. And I'm like, a year and a half with the number I said is very, very realistic. I initially said 6 months, but he told me 12 to 18 months is more realistic. So I was like, okay, sure, as long as the number's showing it's going that direction, as long as we're still working together, yeah, that's not a problem. But in January of 2016, that's when I realized it wasn't going to last long term. During this phase, from here to here, October 2015 to January 2016, I thought like, oh, this job I'll be here for another 4 years. I'll build a franchise off of this business, but he, without getting too specific, he gypped me on percentages for my managing bonus by about, based off of my numbers, $300. And since I'm not a millionaire, $300 is still a lot of money. So at January 26th, that's when I knew I had to get out of there. So I want to say, let me get this right, March 2016, actually, so you guys can see it. March 2016, that's when I really took it seriously that, like, okay, the income where I need to be at is not going to be there. I'm starting to hate my passion because someone doesn't have integrity with their own members. He wasn't organized. He kept his gym very filthy. There's a lot of standards associated with a business that he did not want to adhere to, and that's okay, but I just can't be a part of it. So that's when I started figuring out how is it going to look like financially for me to have my own business, and what exactly is the sacrifice I need to do to have my own business. So I figured out equipment, what I want my gym to look like. I knew I didn't want a bunch of useless treadmills or ellipticals in my gym. I initially thought I wanted like all power racks, but obviously you have to have something else in the gym because I personally like to squat, and I like my clients to squat regardless of their goals, but let me not get too off topic. I have all free weights, conditioning, strength and conditioning equipment, 2 power racks, battle ropes, basically anything that's going to support you losing weight, gaining muscle, gaining strength. Nothing that's going to be a waste of your time. No equipment here you can also be on your cell phone with, because you're not here to socialize, you're not here to play games, you're here to have fun and meet your goals in the process. So once I got my vision down packed, started talking, make some connections, got some free stuff, got some discounted stuff. Opened my doors May 27, 2016. So basically, I was trying to hold on to the relationship on some level at the beginning of this month, but then a couple of things that were questionable integrity, where basically 15 or 20 people were actually called my number to say like, hey, I canceled my membership and I'm still being charged. There's a lot of different integrity things with that business that I learned a lot from, and I never ever want to be like the business I was a part of initially. So basically, once I realized that that was happening, and I had my name attached to that business, I had to 100% disassociate. But in the beginning, in October 2015, we were best buds. We texted a lot. We called. We really had a long-term plan. But once that went out the window for whatever reason, I don't know, he lost motivation or what the deal was, I realized that I need to cut ties. I need to do my own thing. I need to build my legacy through this gym, and I need to impact people the way I want to impact them. So May 27th, I opened my doors. On the very first day, I got 2 members from my old gym, and to this day, we had 12 signups, and a couple people coming in tomorrow to sign up as well. So it's moving. I'm very, very excited that I finally got to doing something that I love. And something I failed to mention in the earlier part is in 2009, I actually had my own chess business very, very briefly, but since I didn't have a vehicle to drive everywhere, it didn't really work out. But my prices were actually higher than they are right now for personal training sessions. I think for chess, I was charging $45 a session and $65 for 2 hours. I forget the exact numbers, but it was a good bit for chess, for something that's not necessarily, it's intellectually beneficial, but this is beneficial because it's more of a crisis. Because if people aren't healthy, then they have to get surgery, medication, but that's another story for another video. But my passion in chess got to get all over my passion for fitness, since they both started around the exact same time. 2000 is when I started playing chess, and 2003 is when I started being active and more healthy. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions for me, don't forget to subscribe and comment and like this video. Also, if you are in the Tulsa area, come to the gym, free, 12 to 2 p.m. on Saturday and every other Saturday until further notice. Thanks for watching, guys. You have a good one. Peace.